starting off. The minutes from the October 16th meeting. Everyone get a chance to take a look. Comments, questions, corrections? Hearing none. The minutes are. Okay. First up, a request from Jeff Goki of the Fairfield Tennis Center to keep the bubble up year-round and add air conditioning. Good evening. Did I get it right? Goki?
You did.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I met with Anthony a few weeks ago, lamenting to him that the summers are getting hotter and more humid, and we're having less play at the tennis center. Our revenue was down 36% from last summer. We have another outdoor facility in Norwalk, and we're having the same issue there. And on the contrary, we have two indoor tennis clubs with air conditioning, and they're seeing increased play up over 30%. And then the other issue at the tennis center is the outdoor lighting system is gutless.
Thank you.
At best functioning maybe at about 60%. There's some structural issues. It's not just changing the bulbs. And that's town-owned. So, Anthony, how long have you been here?
20 years.
So I was with Jerry Lombardo, and Jerry looked into having that system changed. That's how many?
Actually proposed it 3 times. 3 times it's been rejected by the Board of Finance.
So my thought to Anthony was, what if we kept the bubble up year-round and insulated and air-conditioned? The benefit, I think, would be more play in the summer, less issues with rain or flooding of the courts, better conditions in my mind, not being the sun or the humidity. And then it wouldn't be the need for the outdoor lights. And I think, Anthony, you and I discussed, I got a price, it's probably about $200,000 to change to a new system. So
Air conditioning or the bulb? The $200,000.
No, just for the lighting, outdoor lighting. The
Okay.
cost of a new lighting system for the tennis center would be about $200,000.
That's what it was.
Right. So my thought would be, and to take the bubble up and down, it costs us $50,000. So we would eliminate that. Bubbles last longer; they're not seasonal; they stay up year-round. So that would be a benefit to us too. I think the other benefit is it's 70 tons of air conditioning at a cost of about $150,000, which would be an asset to the town. So in my mind, it's a win-win, certainly for all of us. But obviously, it's happy to answer any questions or comments. In the spring and summer, all would stay the same, and I'm not asking for a price increase.
So the courts now in the summer, if a resident wants to play there, it's just the regular permitting, or
No, it's still through Fairfield Indoor Tennis. That switched. Everything is year-round through them now, and that switched when they redid the buildings in 2014.
But you set the pricing.
Correct.
We set
For the
pricing
summer.
You set pricing for the summer. Yep.
So this will remain the same.
Correct. I think I came to you maybe 2 years ago for a price increase, and I'm not asking for one.
Okay. And you own the bubble?
We own the bubble.
Oh, you do.
Yeah. But you own the other equipment. I think pretty much whatever we could pick up and take would be ours, and whatever we paid for a new mechanical system, new lighting system, and that would all be with the town. This would be the air conditioning units.
And we had this conversation, I had the question. So if there are any traditional players during the summer who really love playing outdoors, there are other options for them?
Yeah, we have 30 other outdoor tennis courts.
With ample availability
Yes.
during summer?
Yep.
Great idea. Anyone have any questions?
Do you have any special leagues there, that groups that just like to play there for some reason, just because of location or whatever? Or
I mean,
you don't think you're interrupting anybody who's going to complain?
No. And I thought maybe the neighbors would be happier. They don't have to have the outdoor lights at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to accept the bubble. So.
Not too many neighbors.
And there aren't too many neighbors, right? Yeah. Deer and fox rays.
So in the winter, you have arrangements with groups for the season. Do you have that during the summer as well?
Some do, yes, that's correct. Some will take the court for the whole, they want to know that they can play, say, Friday morning from 9 to 10:30.
Right.
So there is that. Not nearly as much as in the wintertime. But again, I'm thinking that seeing that we have another outdoor club and have the same situation where there's reduced play, particularly with kids. Kids aren't coming out. Parents don't want to have their kids outside in the sun and humidity. So that's really what we're losing.
And the hours of operation inside the bubble, will they remain the same?
Yeah, I mean,
or are they going to be extended?
Yeah, I mean, they could remain the same. I think we'd have more play in the evening because
In the winter, it's till 10?
till 10. That's correct. And we could do the same in the summer.
Okay, because in the summer, I can't imagine that we have the lights on until 10 o'clock.
I think we have to shut them down. By
They have
10.
to be done by 10. Yeah.
That was
It had to
yeah.
be, all right, so it was still 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Why didn't we do this 2 years ago?
I'm slow to go, I guess.
Almost. Good. Thank you.
Second.
Richard? Thank you. Any further discussion? Anything from the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? All right. Good to go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You're not
Sticking around, sorry.
Okay, and you said Mark is
Mark's on the line.
Next up, the request from Mark Barnhart of the Economic Development to hold a Make Music Fairfield Winter Edition Solstice Stroll on Saturday, December 21st from 11 a.m. to noon, starting at FTC, stopping at SAQ Community Theater and the Public Library before finishing at the Sherman Green Music Zone. Mark?
Good evening, Commissioners. Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development. I'm sure many of you know for the last 7+ years we've had a Make Music Day in Fairfield, part of a global celebration, free and open to the public on June 21st, the longest day of the year. This year we like to present a much shorter version of that, the winter edition, the Solstice Stroll on a Saturday, December 21st, which is the shortest day of the year, in conjunction with some of our companion communities throughout the world. So this event, as described, will just be a procession beginning at FTC, stopping at the Shoe Community Theater, the library, and then ending on the green. It's scheduled to last about an hour. We don't expect a huge crowd, but the idea is to sing holiday-themed music for that time. So again, it's free and open to the public. We'll probably be on the green for about 20 minutes or so, but would respectfully ask for your permission to do so.
No issues?
Nope, date's fine.
Okay. Any questions?
Any traffic considerations? Mark, it's Dylan O'Connor. Are there any traffic considerations that you're taking into account?
Yeah, we're coordinating with the, thanks Dylan, we're coordinating with the Fairfield Police Department to ensure safe passage on the streets. Obviously there are crosswalks and lights, but we're going to make sure that everyone's safe for that time.
Anything else? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Dylan?
I'll second.
David, second. Anything further from the commission? Public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? All right, Mark, you're all set.
Thank you very much. Have a great
Thanks,
rest
Mark.
of your- Bye-bye.
And Galen, give me 1 second before you start. I neglected to mention we have received an email from Tracy Newell on the public input, the second section. Reading through, it appears as though there's really not a whole lot that is for the commission, but it's for Anthony and staff to figure out. So, okay. Now, next up, Galen Brown, Director of Parks and Rec, requests for approval of the Beach Bunny 5K, April 12th, 2025, 7:45 to noon at Jennings.
Well, good evening. I'm Galen Brown, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. We're super excited to gear up for our fourth Beach Bunny 5K. And some of you have been gracious to volunteer at this event. I think you have a bit of an understanding of what it's about, but it's our annual Children's Easter Egg Scrambles. So with the addition of a 5K, family-friendly bunny hop, there's food trucks, sponsor square, and just kind of fun for the whole family. We are looking at having it this year on Saturday the 12th, about from 7:45 to 12 noon, and that's with setup and events and breakdown and cleanup, and just requesting permission from the commission to have it again.
You didn't have a 5K last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Then it says with the addition of a 5K.
This is our historic Easter egg scrambles that we've added the 5K to, and the family bunny hop, and just a bunch of different things. It used to be like a super quick event.
But you've had the 5K, so it's now an additional
it's
aspect. Yeah, that's what I thought there was always 4K, so I was confused there. Okay. Okay. Anybody?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Get right to it. I'll second.
I mean, I volunteered.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. When there's no questions, let's just get right to it. Any other comments, questions? Public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Item number 1 for you, Galen. Number 2, Galen, to present a rental rate increase for the Burr Mansion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, Allison from the Burr Mansion and I, we had done a call around a competitive set just to see what other reception venues are charging. Burr Mansion has not increased rates since 2020, since the beginning of 2020. So the call around confirmed that really everyone had increased rates post-COVID, and so Burr Mansion is not really, it was below market value. And again, the competitive set was sent around, but the current rate for the house in tent is $4,800. You're proposing the rate of $6,000, and that's for both the house and the tent. As well, our current additional hours rate is $300 at Burr Mansion, and we were proposing $400 instead.
With regards to Penfield, you talked about, excuse me, a bit about the hours. So at Burr, what are the hours that come with the event?
Additional people are renting it from 2 to 10?
Yeah.
2 to 10,
Usually
okay.
2 to 10. It's an 8-hour contract.
And is it always house and tent?
90+%, 95+%. This year we had 2 events that were just the mansion only.
Okay. Is there a different price for that?
There is a different price for that. We try to break it up between the mansion and the tent. The tent is actually more expensive than the cost of the mansion, just because it's so expensive to put up and take it down and the floor and everything else. And the cost of the tent's actually gone up about $15,000 over the past few years, and we haven't increased our rates, so that's just coming out of our revenue as well. But people typically in the summer don't really do the Burr that much because we never had air conditioning. This is the first year that Anthony and team decided to put some downstairs, so we have had some summer inside events, but we haven't had the other events. Most of the bigger indoor events, weddings and bat mitzvahs.
And during summer, how many events would you anticipate?
This year, I think we had about 20. Well, over the summer, it's 1 a weekend most of the time. Once in a while it's 2, but most of the time it's 1 weekend.
We budget for about 36 events for the year, from basically April through November. We have some winter stuff, but yeah.
So when you refer to the cost of $15,000 for putting the tent out and taking it down, it's at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season.
Yeah, the tent's actually $45,000 for the season.
You guys keep it up the whole summer.
It stays up the whole summer.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, but it's gone up a lot in the past few years.
Okay.
So we have never increased our prices.
Because that's a rental
Correct. So
What would it cost to
We-
buy
I
it?
was just gonna say, we should.
we don't have the staff to put it up. That's the issue. It's too much of a liability issue. No, we can't. We've already been down this road. Trust me. We've been down this road. So, I don't doubt it. Good. The town took over the Burr Mansion only a couple of years ago. So, with that comes a lot of red tape and bureaucracy. One of those things being the tent. Well, when it was for I don't want to say a charitable organization because the Fairfield Museum is not necessarily a charitable organization, but when it was for the Fairfield Museum, companies looked at that as, oh, this is going to cut them a break, as opposed to the town, we have to put things out to bid. When we put it out to bid, the exact same tent from the exact same company now all of a sudden costs $15,000 more. So that's what we're seeing. And then you know, everything else, you just tap inflation on top of all that, and that's where we are.
So what is the season for a mansion? If it's 36 events that we're budgeting for?
Yeah, it's basically one, and we try to do one a weekend.
Starting one.
April is typically,
Last week of April.
yep, and it goes through, I think, right about now.
Right now.
Okay,
Last
so the
weekend.
10
Yeah.
goes
The
up
10 came down
April
yesterday.
Yesterday. Yep,
Okay.
10 came down
All right.
yesterday.
Only Saturday, sorry.
Most of them are Saturdays. We do a lot of weddings. Some are Fridays, some are Saturdays. We never do 3 events weekends. Usually one. We have a handful of weekends coming up. This is Friday and Saturday.
How would you phase in the rates?
Well, we
So, yeah, typically the way that goes, it's the same with the pavilions, I believe, is the rate would go into effect, you know, for as soon as you guys approve it. So if someone comes to book tomorrow, they're at the new rate. And then eventually the old money that's on the book, if you booked at that rate, you're at that rate. So we book, I think the mansion's 2 years out, just like we do with the pavilion. So we could have old money on the books for up to 2 years.
So the people who have been considering it, if we approve it tonight,
Yeah,
they're
correct.
out of luck.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Have events gone up or down, like, or did they like, stay consistent throughout the year?
You know, they're pretty consistent. We're this next year coming up, we're a little bit higher. It was always hard this summer because if there wasn't air conditioning inside and people were worried about getting married in the heat. So next year we're fully booked for the summer, but we've gone ahead and added the air conditioning as well. So it's pretty.
Is it tent air conditioning as well?
It is
No.
not. You could add heat, you could add fans, you could add air conditioning. That's up to each individual.
So next year you said that we already booked. I mean, they're booked at low price, obviously.
Yeah, we're booked all next year already, and then even into October of 2026. Some places. So it just depends on how many. I think we have another 10 events to book at the new price that will go through, but other than that, in 2026 we're already full.
And would you anticipate any pushback at the new price?
I don't think so. I mean, I really don't. I mean, the mansion is great itself, but a lot of people will come because it's the largest tent in Fairfield County, and you've got tent in your backyard is $50,000 per night. So most people will come and look at it, say, "Wow, you should, you know, it's cheap, you know, find out," because it's really, really expensive for it.
Yeah.
Even at $6,000.
I hope my daughter elopes.
We're going to Burr.
Would you publish the rates? Do you print those in the booklets that go out?
We have never done. We have not done it, and at the museum we didn't do it either.
Okay.
I don't know if something to consider, but
So it's just on your website?
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Anyone?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
I think you have to get in there.
Excellent.
In there,
Jamie,
Jamie.
wonder where you were tonight.
I'm trying.
Anything further from the commission? I'd ask the public, but unless you have anything else to add.
no, yes, I approve.
Okay. Back to the commission. All those in favor? Jamie, that was it? Okay. All set. All right, thank you. Okay, Galen, next up. Galen, excuse me. Present a rental rate increase for the Penfield Pavilion.
Thank you for your time. Similar to Burr, I have not been to this commission to request a rate increase for Penfield Pavilion since March of 2018. I spent a a great deal of time on the pavilions, marketing them and selling them as a premier destination here in Fairfield County. Between COVID and having to cancel over 300 events and then closing Penfield back down for the remediation, it's been difficult for me to kind of get my footing with that pavilion. But we are looking forward to reopening for 2025. And in conjunction with the reopening, I would like to increase the rates to commensurate with similar properties within the state of Connecticut. And I did put together the proposed rates across the board, both for the peak season and off-peak season. And in conjunction with the rate increase, I would also like to adjust from a 6-hour event to an 8-hour event, which would break out to roughly 3 hours for setup, 4 hours for the event, and an hour to break down and clean up. The main reason for this is just from being here now for at least 6 seasons of this. I've noticed the majority of events are large-scale events. They're coming in and doing extensive work, whether it's fabric panels across the ceiling, specialty lighting installations, and so they're needing more time than the 6-hour rental, specifically for Penfield.
So, well, first question, when did you join Parks and Rec?
January of 2018.
2018, so you've never asked for it?
March.
She did in March. That was the first
did?
task I gave her.
So 2 months into your,
I think it's up running.
all right.
Yeah.
I remember that meeting.
Yep. One of my best.
So the 8 hours, 3, 4, 1. If someone did not need the 3 hours to set up, could they, in theory, they still have it for the 8 hours? Could they have a 5 or 6 hour event?
We had put parties extend their actual length of the reception if it was, let's just say, a mitzvah or a wedding, and they were going to do some sort of on-site religious ceremony.
But other than that, you try and keep them to a 4-hour party.
That's correct.
Any questions?
I just have a question on the rates, and probably not a big deal, but the increase turns out to be a fairly higher percentage for residential versus non-residential, but they're increasing the same dollar amount. Did you think about whether you might want to do a percentage increase, or just curious?
You know, I did work on the proposed rate for a very long time, and I looked at dollar increases versus percentage increases. I kind of wanted to keep it, I'll just say, as easy for me to manage as possible. So, for example, raising it, $1,500 for the Saturday night premium days, both for resident and non-resident. So I just kept it similar in terms of dollar amounts, not percentages.
Okay. I mean, what's nice is that you're still consistent. It's $1,000 less per resident. So that's fine.
Do you know what the breakout is typically, historically, resident, non-resident?
Yeah, it's about 75% resident. Yeah.
It might even be higher than that, but yeah, it's at least that. Everybody seems to know a resident.
Why didn't you consider, Jackie Durrell?
Honestly, with Jackie Durrell, on a Saturday night, it's $2,000 for a resident, $2,500 for a non-resident. I find that pavilion, I'll just say, is appropriately priced. It's appropriately priced. I didn't necessarily see a need to increase the rates there. Specifically for what you're getting in that venue, it's a small-scale, intimate venue. You know, there's no heating, there's no cooling, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no sound system. And so I would just say it tends to attract a more casual type of an event. I didn't foresee that pavilion needed a rate increase.
Good. Same question, and do you anticipate there being any pushback or fall-off in rentals with this?
No, if anything, I feel like I've gotten feedback from many parties that book with us, event centers that utilize us, that we are severely underpriced for the venue. And so I don't foresee, even with these rate increases, I think that we're still an incredibly reasonable option for people here.
And I'm just curious, because Burr is 6,000, Penfield 5 at peak time, and is Burr generally more desirable or just different?
I would say it's different, just in terms of people looking for a historic mansion and country garden type of an event.
Yeah, and the Burr also has like a second floor that has bridal suites and changing rooms and things like that, so that adds a little bit to,
Even with the current project taking place at Penfield, we do lack storage, we lack the commercial kitchen, we lack the wedding suite, so there are some differences between the venues.
Anything else?
Just a quick question, sorry. I know Brian asked this question earlier. You said, so whatever the cost is, they're able to book it for 8 hours, potentially. But we don't lead with that, right? You're saying that we can possibly break that down to a shorter time frame? Or no?
Presently,
Yeah.
we would tell someone that their rental is 6 hours,
6 hours,
which
okay.
is an hour for setup, 4 hours for their event, and an hour to break down and clean up. So I would be transparent, and I would
Okay.
let people know when they book with us, they
Got
have
it.
a
Okay.
8-hour. Yeah.
If they don't need the 3 hours, then they show up 1 hour before that.
But the key here is the commission is only deemed an event to last up to 4 hours. So you could not
Okay.
go in and have an 8-hour celebration of,
Okay.
blast,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
That's
Thank you.
what you're not
And
allowed
you're
to do.
fully transparent with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody?
I'll make a motion.
Richard? Oh. All right. Anything further? All right. We go back to the commission. All those in favor? Okay, you're all set. Thank you. Okay, and next up, Anthony, I guess this is all you, or Galen, are you?
No, Galen's not. No, she can go home. Enjoy. Thanks for coming out.
So this is to rename the ball field at Veterans Park to Jimmy Stanek Field at Veterans Park.
Yeah, so the proposal, as you see, is exactly what we're here asking. I'll talk about the process first. Typically when we go to name something, whether that's a trail, a piece of equipment, a field, it's a recommendation from the Parks and Rec Commission to the Board of Selectmen. So the Board of Selectmen will be the ones that vote on it. You also will vote, but just because you vote on it doesn't make it happen. Like the actual happening, the official happening happens with the Board of Selectmen. So I've had several, honestly, probably 10 to 12 requests from current and past softball players, adult softball players in our leagues, come to me and say, we want to honor Jimmy Stanek in some way. We'd love to name a field after him. Is there any field in town that doesn't have a name that we currently use as a softball field that we could rename after Jimmy? We started kicking it around, and one of the only ones that doesn't have an official name for the field is Veterans Park. And I went back through lots and lots of Parks and Rec Commission meetings, minutes and all that, just to double check to make sure I wasn't overlooking somebody a field might have been named after. And it doesn't seem that Veterans Park has one. So Jimmy's been with the Parks and Rec Department over 40 years. I believe he actually started in 81. But I'd have to double check that as well. It's right around the 81 time frame when he started organizing our adult softball leagues. Everybody it's involved with Parks and Recreation has come across Jimmy in one way or another, whether it was through softball or through Naughty Dolphin, or just through his vanity license plate of Cubs 1 driving around town. You recognize Jimmy. Everybody knows the whiz. So we couldn't think of a better way to honor somebody like Jimmy, who's given so much to Fairfield, than to name this park this field after him. So yeah, we're looking to name the field at Veterans Park, the Jimmy Stanek Field at Veterans Park, with your support, of course.
So this would be the softball field.
The softball field at Veterans
not
Park.
Not the bocce course, not
Correct.
everything else.
Correct. Just the softball field.
And if we do, with the master plan, build a rugby field
Yep.
there, that'll, up for another name.
Correct.
But it's just a softball.
Yep.
Field. Okay.
It's on Reef.
It's on Reef.
When you have like a renaming the field, do you do like a ceremony?
We normally do a ceremony. We invite the first selectman, to do that. The most recent one we did was the Ken Dolling gazebo on Sherman Green. So, we did a little ceremony there. We haven't done a field in a Doogie-Yellow. So 2014 would have been the last one, last field that I remember. So.
Yeah, and that wasn't a renaming because that was brand new.
Brand new. Sure. So, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Love to
Jump
make
right
a
in.
motion on that.
All right.
Second.
Bridget, see the softball guy? All right. Anything else? All those in favor?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. All set.
Appreciate it.
All right, so
You'll let us know when that is.
Yeah, I will see when I can get on the Board of Selectmen agenda. They had like 26 items today.
So no Board of Ed report, and there's a couple printouts for the
Director approvals. I think they're looking for.
and what's the walk a mile in your shoes?
That's one of the ones that's on the director approval.
Oh, it is, okay. All right. And so we have both the October and the November items in here, including the Christmas vigil, crush.
Well, the October information is going with the minutes. That
Oh,
goes
right,
with
okay.
the minutes.
I was
Okay,
gonna say,
those
that
are
was,
already
yeah,
approved.
we did have that last one, okay. So now, this month, we only have the menorah lighting and the, out there, the walk mile. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I didn't have time to write a director's report. I apologize, but I'll just give a few updates. Penfield Pavilion, I think, should be the first one that I should mention because I just watched the Board of Selectmen meeting prior to this meeting. Like I said, 20-something agenda items on there, but an update for Penfield Pavilion was on there, so I wanted to listen to hear what was going on. That building is actually ahead of schedule to be reopened. So it looks like they're aiming for the end of January, which is what we thought all along. So matches our schedule. The first event we have inside Penfield is February 23rd. So that gives me and Galen a couple weeks to make sure that building is actually ready to go inside, since nothing inside hasn't been climate controlled or painted or all that stuff. So we're going to have our work cut out for us to get it ready for that first party. But
We need official, like CO and everything.
Correct.
To have the event.
Correct. But we should be good. They're saying end of January, it'll be ready to go. So we'll see. But I'm optimistic after listening to that. Some holiday events that we have coming up that you guys all should be aware of. Santa's mailboxes will be out and about around town, I believe 5 different locations, starting November 27th through December 20th. That's just where kids and families write letters to Santa, make sure they put a return address on their envelope, and then they get a letter back from the North Pole from the big guy himself. We have our Winter Whimsy, our annual Winter Whimsy at the Town Hall Green on December 7th, starting at 4:15. The actual tree lighting and menorah lighting will happen at 5 o'clock sharp. We have our holiday breakfast on December 14th at Ludlow High School, starting at 10 o'clock. We have a new event called Happy Holidays at our driving range on December 12th. At 5 p.m., which will be all kinds of contests that they'll have. There's a Beat Olaf contest, so somebody will be dressed as Olaf and trying to outdrive Olaf. Closest to the pin for $25,000, and a whole bunch of other activities going on there. The Boca food truck will be there, and there'll be some adult beverages being served by them as well. The cost is, to be in the contest, you just have to buy a bucket of balls, and you can participate in the contest. A full bucket of balls goes for $10. If you bring canned food, a bag of canned food, to donate to Operation Hope, they'll give you the small bucket, which is 22 balls, and you can't participate in the contest, but you can still hit.
So closest to the pin implies that there will be a winner, as opposed to the home
Well,
run.
That's the way our golf pro has explained it to me. I don't know if there's other details that he just maybe left out. I don't know if it's 6 inches from the pin, 4 inches from the pin, or truly I'm 8 feet and I'm the closest one, right? I'm not 100% sure, so don't hold me to that. But
someone's got to be sure, otherwise we're writing a check for $25,000. Yeah.
we're not writing the check,
And
but
we can't offset it with the insurance policy.
yeah, right. True, fair. And then one other new event, brand new event that we have, that our new recreation coordinator that's been on with us since August, Jason Wilson, came up with, is called New Year's Eve. It's primarily for youngsters. From 11 a.m., they'll do a balloon drop at noon at the Scandinavian Club, and there'll be refreshments and games and activities for those kids. We already have about 150 kids and parents signed up for it, so looking forward to that. And then budget update. I wish I had an actual update for you. We are in the budget season, but we have no CFO and we have no budget director any longer. So I'm not sure if that's going to hamper the process, because normally we would be meeting with the administration right now, going through our budgets, and things would be adjusted and whatnot. I know that I heard at the Board of Selectmen meeting that they were setting up interviews for a CFO, so I'm hoping that speeds up and maybe moves this process a little quicker. But other than that, we are working on our spring brochure. That'll be going to print in December and hitting mailboxes early January. Any questions?
Full calendar.
Yeah.
Normal question. I have softball, second softball field, or the giant steps.
So I don't have anything on giant steps, and I don't know where that's going at the moment. But I don't have an update on the softball field, but I will get an update on the softball field. The same company that's doing the softball field is currently overseeing the construction at Ludlow Middle School. In the Ludlow Middle School project, we should start seeing piles of dirt leaving Friday. That was the big holdup. All that dirt, I don't know if I mentioned this last month. I don't know if I knew this last month. All the dirt at Ludlow has been deemed, I don't want to say it wrong, I believe polluted, not contaminated, but historically polluted. So it could either, there were two options. It could either be reused on site, or it could be shipped to a waste facility. The town opted to ship it to a waste facility rather than mess around with building berms and other things which we don't have a great history with. To dispose of.
To mix it.
Correct. It can't be used anywhere else. But again, like I said, this is not Julian Fill related. This is historic, old farmland, pesticides type fill. And again, it was not overly contaminated or polluted. It was just enough where it needs to be shipped to this facility. And again, the state said, no, you can use this on site. But again, the administration said, thanks, but no, we're going to pay the additional money to ship it out. So the holdup was they were able to do all the excavation work and get the site prepped and graded, but we've got these big mounds of dirt sitting there that were waiting to be shipped. So I was told yesterday that they'll start being shipped on Friday. So once they get shipped, then again, you'll see a ton of action taking place, because we've had pretty mild weather where they could start getting a lot of stuff done. They were really hoping to get the turf laid prior to any snow, and then just come in the spring and put the fill in and all that. So, but
the information about the soil being polluted, has that been disseminated?
Not yet. It will be when we go and ask for the additional funding.
That'll generate some.
You have 24/7 guards.
They've been playing on that field.
So that's the thing. It's not hazardous. Again, like, we could reuse it on site. So that, and I know people won't understand that, but again, this is coming from Connecticut Deep, so.
Probably would make sense to have the various categories ready.
Yep.
And we're going to hear from people.
100% letting the administration handle this, and that's how this is gone so far. So their new capital planning department is leading the charge.
Okay. That's it? Any questions? No. All right. Anything for the order that anyone wants to talk about? Hearing none, we are